Okay, welcome back. We're now going to be looking at section number 3, which is GUI. So again, we're just talking about it in general in the section. First things first, very similar to the previous section, you need to talk about what a GUI is. Now again, if you come over here and go to the next page, I believe it is, let's have a look at this. There we go, Graphical Interfaces. And these are known as more complex user interfaces purely because there's more involved. There's more pictures, more color schemes and icons and images and symbols. And they're all designed to make it easier for the user. If I just zoom in a little bit here, I'm not sure why it's not showing anything. It might be because of the poor internet connection. I'm just going to go back one step and go to the next page again. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's doing this. I may have to refresh this completely. Let me just cross this off and go back to the link. So, as I was saying, while this loads up, you first start off by talking about what a GUI is in general. Now, if you've seen the history of, if you've seen the history of GUIs in a previous video, whether it's on YouTube on the share or on the shared area, should give you a better understanding of what we're talking about here. So zoom in here, you can see you've got a nice little definition here. Again, don't just regurgitate, don't just copy and paste, read it, understand it, prove that you understand it, and put it in your own words. Now, GUIs have many different features, and that's how you know if it's a GUI. There's a list here of things that you would expect, and there's an example of what it looks like. You can see that it's a visual interface, therefore it's made up of graphics. Users can navigate around the user interface logically, so things are organized in specific ways. It's not just haphazard, it's not all over the place, it's not random. There's a reason for where things are. Icons for users select with the mouse or with their fingers on a touchscreen. Contains menus to display options for the users to select. It requires powerful hardware as it has to process graphics containing millions of pixels. Look at it. That's, light years ahead of what we were looking at in the previous section with WIMPs. There's more involved, there's more to look at, it's more interesting, it's more attention grabbing, and it is easier to understand. You can show this to a novice, and as long as they can understand the language, English, and this is in English, they should be able to just read something and click it and find it. If I said to someone, okay, I want you to shop on something, go and find me something on eBay, all they have to do is look for the word eBay, and there it is, it's the icon. It's not their icon, it's the official eBay icon, which makes it even easier to recognize. If I said to someone, here, take this laptop or tablet, I want you to check your email, they'll go to this icon here. So these symbols and color schemes and icons make it so much easier, a huge difference into the way the user experience is. So you're going to basically talk about that in general. Going back to the document, you'll see a few more questions. Now you'll notice that there's actually more here, because GUIs, there's more to it, there's more versions of it. So once you've done the general discussion of what it is, you then have to give me a discussion on how a GUI is on a computer. Okay, so discuss GUIs on a computer with examples and a screenshot. You talk about the pros and the cons. Do you think they work, and explain and justify your points. So you're going to say a GUI on a computer is typically like this. So if you look at my computer right now here, or in front of you, you should have a Windows icon here, which is basically known as a start menu. When you click on that, it has a pop-up menu, and then you can go to your documents. If you have the older version of Office, Windows, you'll find it over here somewhere. The apps or the applications are found here as a list, yeah, and some more recently or more commonly used, regularly used apps might be found here. But this is your user interface on a computer. It's designed so that you can find things easier, and in this case, it's done alphabetically. So you can see all the A's are here, then you got the C's, then the E's, F's, and G's, and so on and so forth. So you have to talk about that here. After you've done that discussion, you need to get a screenshot, and it says here, these are the details that you need for the screenshot. So you'll have a discussion about what a GUI is generally, then specifically to do with computers, then a screenshot, and then you talk about what you see on the screenshot. So what do you see? What is whatever you've identified? What do you think it's called? If you don't know it, go online and find out what it is. Why do you think that thing that you have identified is there? What job does it have to do? Yeah, how does it help the user? Then we go on to GUIs on a phone, and you do the whole process again. You talk about the pros and cons of GUIs on a phone. And then you get a screenshot, and then you talk about specific elements you see in that screenshot. What do you see? What is it called? Why is it there? How does it help? Then TV, and then do the same thing. Then a home appliance, then do the same thing. Yeah? So you can see there's quite a few here. You need this a few times, 4 times I believe it is. One for computer, one for phone, TV, home appliance. So that, yeah, there's 4 separate times. So 4 separate things. Questions are identical, but the elements are going to be different. They might be similar because, you know, you'll find a menu in some items. You'll find settings in the phone, and you'll find settings on a computer. So what have I done to help you here? Well, going back to my folder, you'll find that I've actually put a folder called GUI examples here. Now, if you don't have access to this because you're not in my class, then not the end of the world. You just go online and find some examples on the internet. So I've actually got some screenshots here ready for my class because I don't want to waste any time. I want you to do this quickly. So you've got a Windows UI here, so you can take that screenshot and talk about it, and talk about the different features, and that's pretty much identical to what I was showing you earlier on while recording. You've got a Windows 10 UI, another Windows 10 UI here, and you can pick this one. And by the way, guys, just need to pick one and talk about what you see here. Yeah, the fact that you have time and calendar here. What does that mean? What does this mean? That's the signal. Signal to what? The Wi-Fi. What's this? There's a speaker. Speaker for what? The sound of the system, so you can listen to media. You can control it from there without looking. You know, you can say that's good because it's easier. Most people need it, you know, quickly. There's no point faffing around looking for the setting to find that. It's there. It's instant. Keyboard, why is that there? Because some people might be using this as a touchscreen device, so you can click there and the keyboard comes up on the screen. It's that kind of way of thinking. So you have to pick, again, same as before, 3-4 items and say, what is it? Why is it there? Does it help? Do you think it works? Yes or no? I also have a Windows 7 version here. Again, saving you time. You don't have to faff around looking online. If you have it, it's there. If you don't, then you can just Google it. Windows 7 UI. That's what I typed in. And this is probably what you might be used to seeing on your computers, depending on what system you're on in your schools. I also have Android. So this is a phone one. So when you go to the phone section, you could talk about the phone here. I've got Apple. And this is for the Apple computers. So if you don't want to use the Windows, you can use this one here. The quality is not the best, but doesn't need to be. You just need to talk about it. You got the iOS, which is Apple's phone UI. And you can use that one as well and talk about how it changes from different page to another. So you've got a number of different things here that you can use. Now you might be thinking, but sir, you're talking about home appliances here, and you're talking about TV here. So what do you do there? Well, what I've done for you guys is you'll see that there are some videos. Now if you're in my class, I've done the legwork for you. All you got to do is basically open one of these, and now let's see if I can find one. Here we go. Home appliance. This is the refrigerator. Okay. If you open this up, watch it, understand it, and then you can pause it at a moment where you think. I'm gonna pause it for a second. You can pause it where you can get a good shot of the actual appliance itself, and paste it into your document. Now these videos, these are basically reviews of these items, but they are perfect for what you need to talk about. So this gentleman here is talking about how this fridge is not just any normal fridge, it's a smart fridge. So I'm going to just forward a little bit and drop the volume a little bit. I'm going to pause, drop the video volume down. Just going to move it forward a little bit. You can see what this fridge actually does. So I'm going to just skip it forward a little bit. And as I said, you can watch this in your own time. Again, I'm not going to take any credit for these videos, because if you Google it, you can go to their channels. You can find it there if you're watching it from online. If you're watching it in school, the reason why I've downloaded it is because you may not have access to YouTube. So you'll see. Ooh, skipped forward by accident. It's going to go back on here again. You'll see that if you pause it at the right moment, and I'll let you decide where you're going to pause it, you can then get a screenshot of what this fridge can actually do, and then you have to talk about it. So this is what this fridge does. Look at this UI. It's very similar to a tablet PC or a phone. It's designed by Samsung, and this is what it allows people to do. It allows people to make notes. It allows people to share information, to give memos to each other. It allows them to check the calendar, have a shared calendar so people know what they're doing. You can speak to it. It's got Bixby enabled on it, so it's got in its own assistant. You say what's the weather like, and it gives you the weather. So it's connected to the home's Wi-Fi. You can also look inside. There it is. You can look inside the fridge because it's got cameras inside. So you might be thinking, where's the point of that? Well, I'd like to think that some of you will be able to guess. There's two reasons why. I'm going to pause for a second to see whether you can figure it out. Why do you think that a service like this would be, a feature like this would be available? Because this is not cheap. This is like £1,200, I think he said. I might be wrong, it might be more than that. But why do you think that this hardware has cameras, and then the software allows the user to see inside the fridge when they're right there? They can just open the fridge and see what's inside. Why do you think it's like that? Just going to pause for a second and let you just ponder on that for a moment. Okay, so if you haven't guessed, it's basically two reasons. One is, if you didn't realize, fridge, yeah, it's designed to keep things cold. Every time you open that fridge, the cold air escapes. And if you keep it open for longer, the longer you keep that open, the more of that cold air escapes and gets warmer inside, which means food doesn't, believe it or not, will actually get bad quicker. So it's actually in the best interest of keeping the food fresh. It's actually better to don't open it as much. It's like when you're cooking something in an oven. If you open it often, the heat comes out and cold air goes in. So therefore, keeping it closed as much as you can is better for the food. So that's number one. And you might be thinking, well, it's only a few seconds, so on and so forth, but it's just an added benefit. The second reason is because, and it actually explains you in this video, if you, I'm not expecting to guess this, but if you watch this video, you'll see. The gentleman explains that you might find yourself sometimes, you're at this grocery store, the supermarket, and you've forgotten to check the fridge to see what you have and don't have. So all you got to do is get your phone out, use the app that comes with it, and use your home Wi-Fi to connect to it, and you can see inside the fridge from away the home, from away, from miles away. You can be anywhere in the world and see what's inside. Now, I can't see any benefit of this on, let's just say, on holiday. Of course, you're not going to check what's inside your fridge while you're in Barbados or Caribbean or somewhere like that. But it can be very useful if you're shopping and you're at Asda or wherever it might be, Tesco or something like that, and you're thinking, God, I didn't check the fridge, what do I have in there? Get your app out, click on the button, and you can see instantly inside and see what you have and whether you have something or not, and whether you need more of something you already have. So, there are some benefits to it, and these are the things you're going to be talking about. And look at this user interface. You can argue this is very similar to a phone, and in fact it is when you look at the buttons at the bottom here. So you can screenshot that and talk about that there is a perfect example, but you can also go online and find it if you want to as well. There are other things as well, but this is the point, and I want you to basically look at these clips and talk about it. So you got a TV as well. So TV, the reason why the TV is not in there, boys and girls, is because the TV is not actually, there might be one that's a TV here. Let's have a look. Smart TV, there we go. So you can use the smart TV here, talk about the GUI in here, and you can see this is a GUI because it's got graphics, icons, colors, and again you can screenshot it, pause it somewhere and screenshot and talk about it. But again, watch the video to help you with those answers. But again, it's not just about copying and pasting, it's about watching, listening to what they're saying, looking out for those key things they're talking about the user interface, and then putting it into your answers in your own words. So going back to this document here, you can see this is just about GUIs. Okay, I've got a different folder just for menus and forms, and that's going to be for the second section, so the next section, which is section 4. So we'll talk about section 4 in the next video. So for this section, because it's about GUIs, as it says here in the subtitle, you will be looking at the GUI examples folder, and you'll use any and all of these that you want to use to help you answer this section here. I hope that helps. I'll see you in the next video.